Following the closure of 2 bridges in the span of less than 2 weeks, area officials expressed frustrations that went beyond the shutdowns. Those officials said a lack of communication and transparency from the West Virginia Department of Highways was the biggest concern. So I took their questions to Charleston for this News 9 special assignment. On December 11th, many in East Liverpool and Chester said they were shocked to hear about the sudden closure of the Jennings-Randolph Bridge after structural damage was found during an inspection. At the time, State Senator Ryan Weld pushed for the Department of Highways to be more communicative about what was happening.
To continually keep the public updated as to what is going on, the timeline, the progress that's been made, the issues that have been found, and what's being worked on.
Just 11 days later, it was the Market Street Bridge connecting Jefferson County and Brooke County as the structure was closed to traffic indefinitely. It was a move that officials on both sides of the river said they did not know was coming.
It just seems as there's not much management going on at the top of this to really get our arms around this thing and understand why this is happening.
Weeks later, representatives from Hancock, Brooke, and Jefferson counties signed a letter to the Department of Highways expressing dissatisfaction and frustration with the conditions of roads and bridges in the area. Weirton Councilman Fred Marsh told us that day more funding was needed from the state to address the issue.
To me, a quarterly meeting doesn't mean anything. I want to see stuff. I want to see results. I just think we need more attention down in Charleston. Our people deserve it.
The biggest ask out of both situations was more transparency and communication between local cities and the Department of Highways. So I took these concerns to West Virginia State Transportation Secretary Jimmy Riston in Charleston. Did you receive that letter, and what is your response to, what their demands are?
Well, I think my response was given to the Oversight Committee at the legislature. I believe we were transparent. I believe we went above and beyond to communicate what was happening there.
Riston told that committee that the funds to repair or replace the Market Street Bridge were not in the department's current 6-year plan. He told me that prior to the closure of the bridge, a press release was sent that morning and a podcast was out with the bridge program manager that included the details.
I don't know how much more transparent we could be. To think that we have that many bridges in the state and that much work going on in the state, to be able to call, and this is what I told the legislature, there's 100 delegates over there. There's 34 senators over there. Is it really what you want me to do to make 134 individual phone calls to update everybody on every project that's going on? Sometimes there's a little lag, and we're going to work to close those gaps as much as we can, and we'll work on that all we can.
Well, you mentioned not being able to call 134 delegates. Do you think in that situation, maybe a call should have gone to somebody like a Ryan Weld or a Jimmy Willis that was up in the area to let them know? Because I know they felt a little left in the lurch there.
Neither one of them called me. Not one senator has ever called me and didn't get a response. Not one delegate has ever called me and didn't get a response. We have communication channels and communication lines open for our legislatures. We get it over here in Highways. These guys are the voice of the people. This is how their constituents communicate their needs. But it can't be that one-sided. Communication's not a single line. It really is a back and forward. It's a two-way street. If you have a question, for goodness sakes, call me.
Moving forward, I'm sure you hear from different parts of the state, but people in the Northern Panhandle often feel forgotten, like they're the forgotten part of the state. Is there a chance that maybe you personally or some folks from Charleston might be making a few more trips up to that area, especially with the bridges, that might meet with some of, whether it's council people, state legislators, things like that, to kind of have a little bit more communication with?
Happy to do that. Been to the Panhandle many times. I think you can go back through our Facebook page and you can see me standing on a slip site. You can see me standing on a pave. I actually operated a paver up there very close to there myself not very long ago. Can I get out to every part of the state as much as I want to? No, but boy, I want to, because that's who I am.
Meanwhile, Weld told me that his biggest focus during the current legislative session is to hold DOH accountable for what is happening in the Northern Panhandle and to try to get some answers for the people affected most by these problems.
That is a goal of mine, is to increase transparency of the projects they're working on, what they intend to do when spring and summer come around, and what the plan is obviously with the bridges in the Northern Panhandle as well.
Weld says following that inspection on the Market Street Bridge, he wants to sit down with the DOH to discuss what will happen moving forward. Of course, News 9 will continue to follow this story as it develops.